start streaming. I think we are live. Hello, welcome everybody. Rajiv ji is back. He's looking super smart today. He usually looks smart, but he is today like
Just practicing to get back in the role. Soon we might have to start going to the office.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, so welcome. We do this every other Thursday where you get to ask any immigration related questions and we try to answer them. And just a disclaimer, do not take everything as a legal advice. If you have specific questions, you should reach out and hire an immigration lawyer for your specific case.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's a good idea because no matter how hard we try, we can give generic information.
yeah.
But immigration law is such a weird beast. Even the smallest change in the facts can completely turn the case upside down.
Yeah.
So it's a good idea to consult. We can give you basic information, but not really extremely accurate information.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I think I'm just waiting for some people to show up. Make sure they can hear me.
What's up with the hat?
My hair is grown so long. I haven't had chance to go. So the person I used to go for my haircut, she quit. I mean, she's doing her own different business, and now I have to find a new person who can cut my hair. So I have just not had chance to find a new person, and I don't have time to fix my hair. So the hat is the solution.
I see. Next is Pagadi.
Next is spaghetti. Yes, that'll be awesome. I don't know how to make one. Like
That's why the good Lord made YouTube.
true. Okay.
Before we get started, I want to really quickly cover. Remember, I sent you one of my, I keep saying Instacart. Instagram, is that what it is called?
You did.
Yeah, see, I think we should cover that real briefly because some of my acquaintances, even some friends, were very concerned in India. You know, I had my visa interview for student visa, and they've kept my passport, and it's now been 3 weeks or 4 weeks or 5 weeks. So guys, for administrative processing, it's not unusual for it to extend to 8 to 12 weeks. But if your school is starting within the next couple of weeks or 3 weeks, it's a good idea to contact the consulate and just let them know I need an emergency adjudication of my application. My school is starting on August 30th, whatever that date is. So just go ahead and do that. Contact the consulate, make it known that you have a session coming up. They might even expedite it. They should.
Yeah, I did see that, and that was a good point. This is mainly for the students who are worried and not getting any response from embassy. Yeah.
Extremely worried. I could see, and I can understand. You paid your tuition. You are stuck here. You don't know where the visa is. What's going on? Nobody knows. So.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know what I did, but I think I had unlisted us. So we were just talking and nobody was listening. So now I made it public. I see Aditya online. Aditya, can you hear us? Can you comment and let us know? People can hear me. Karthik, hello. Just comment and let us know if you can hear me.
Yudi, are you out of practice? Is that what's going on?
It is probably, well, it's not, yeah, we can hear you, yeah. Okay. I think it's, that, and then YouTube had a glitch, I think. If people are not showing, I mean, it shows on the dashboard, it shows there are 55 people, but on the chat, nobody's responding. So I'm not sure if it is not displaying or what was going on. So that's why.
We could play Antakshari.
We could, yeah. But they could, they can't do anything. I mean, just you and me. I'll lose.
Definitely.
All right. Okay. We do have some people already on chat. I think I can see it now.
Shall we repeat the student visa thing? Because nobody heard us.
Yeah, let's repeat one.
Yeah, so couple of points I wanted to make. These are issues that have been coming up repeatedly over the last few weeks. One point was that if your student visa has been put in administrative proceedings, they have taken your passport and you're just waiting 1 to 3 weeks. Don't worry so much. I've known people to wait 8 to 12 weeks and ultimately get sorted out. But if your session is coming close to starting, it's a good idea to send the consulate an email and in the subject say that student visa session starting August 26th, etc., so that they can probably front burner or front line your application and approve your case earlier. Number
Mm.
one. Number two, some of the younger students, 18 or so, whose parents are reluctant to let them go alone, parents have to remember they are not exempted. Students are exempted, but the parents are not exempted from the India travel ban. Some of the parents have gone to third countries and then they're going to travel from there. That's okay, as long as the visa ban doesn't apply to those countries or the travel ban doesn't apply to those countries. So
Mm.
2 points to remember. Don't be concerned about the delay. Send the consulate your emergency dates if you're coming close to the session start, 2 3 weeks.
Mm.
That's what I would recommend.
Okay. We starting to get questions now. Question number one is: do I need to be worried about OPT removal bill?
They're a bunch of clowns. The four guys or the five guys, I mean, look at their Matt Gates. Come on. He is, no, don't worry about it.
Yeah, yeah. Um. Okay. Can I request my university and JIT to allow me to work off campus if there are not enough jobs on campus?
You can request, there is something called economic necessity. You can read up on that. Go to studyinthestates.gov.
Hmm.
Studyinthestates.gov, one word, study in the states, then .gov. This is a website maintained exclusively for students and for DSOs by the Department of Homeland Security. A lot of
Hmm.
good information, including how they manage your service, how they fill the various fields. So you can even see the point of view of the DSO.
Hmm.
It's a good site to stay in touch with. Okay.
Okay. Next one is I have blank on my passport in the surname section,
Yeah.
and F1 visa says FNU. Would that be problem?
No, because this is a well understood problem. Somebody asked me that question recently. Their name was, let's say their name was Yudi Kumar.
Hmm.
So he says Yudi Kumar is either one name or it is my first and middle name. I have no last name. Somebody said, make Yudi your first name and Kumar your last name. And I said, look, you have a choice to make. I personally think you should leave the last name unknown. Are they going to accept that? I do not know. There's really no legal guidance on this that I know of. This is more of a matter of a practical issue. Remember how databases are organized. You
Mhm.
have compound keys. So the compound key could be your last name, your date of birth, and your social security number. Okay. If they are using compound keys, they need an entry in that field. It's a required field. So they might make it FNU or LNU. I have seen LNUs. I've
Yeah.
seen.
Yeah.
So I would say you have a choice to make, and I would probably stick with whatever you've done all your life.
Okay. Next one is I'm skipping that question. Is birth certificate necessary for US visa? My birth certificate has
No,
different birth date than other documents like Aadhaar card and 10th and 12th mark sheet. What
it's
should
not
I?
necessary. It's not necessary, but get it straightened out. It could become a problem later. Right now, you have the luxury of time. So get it straightened out. When you come close to a green card, you're going to need that.
Yeah. Not for H1B, right? Yeah, I don't think they need. Yeah. All right. Next one is, hi Rajiv ji. My question is, does 1B pay have to be raised after the approval? If yes, when and how soon? What if employer does not make any change?
I'm not sure I understand that question.
I
Oh,
think
he must mean H1B.
H1B. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think
Yeah.
yeah.
So I was like 1B. I had never heard of something like that. Okay. But there's always something new. I thought maybe I'm going to learn something today. So,
I thought that too, but then I realized that he might have just typoed it.
so ask me that question again.
Does H1B pay have to be raised after the approval?
Okay. So the question that I'm being asked is this. It is now September 1st. My H1B has been approved. I was working at $11 an hour while I was on my OPT. My H1B salary is $50 an hour or whatever, right? Higher salary.
I want
When
50.
does that higher salary become payable? And the answer is not when the H1B is approved, but when the H1B is effective. So it can never be effective before October 1st. Okay. But once October 1st comes, they have to raise your salary. But what if your date of approval starts from October 17th? Then it becomes effective on October 17th. Okay, one quick point I want to make, and this comes up in the Department of Labor audits. Sometimes Wage and Hour Division will come for an audit. And the question becomes, when does the salary requirement become binding on the employer? And the answer is when the H1 has been activated and the employer reports as, okay, I'm available. Then once the employee says, I'm available, employer can't say, well, come back in 2 weeks. They have to pay the salary.
Okay. Next one is Daksh is asking, is it safe to travel on OPT? OPT started in June and planning to travel to India in January, start and back by Jan end. Company is applying H1B this year.
Daksh, read my blog, immigration.com. I have written a detailed entry on how to travel when you're on OPT, when you have an H1B about to be filed, when you're on STEM OPT. I've covered every situation that I could think of. And there's also a nice little infographic there. Read up on it. You can travel. There are certain requirements. Make sure that your I-20 is endorsed for travel. Make sure that you have proof that you have been working. Make sure that you have proof that you're going to have a job when you come back. And all those requirements having been fulfilled, also be aware of the India travel ban. Now, being an OPT student, you are considered to be a continuing student. So the travel ban in the current form doesn't apply to you. Is the form going to change? We do not know. So there's a lot of uncertainty. Remember that Biden administration is supposed to be already working on making travel even more difficult. I don't think they're going to impact students, but there's nobody who can tell you how it's going to play out. If I were you, I would also plan for the employer to be able to supervise me remotely if I get stuck in India. That way I can still continue my OPT.
Okay. Okay. I guess that's a follow-up question, not from Daksh, but the question says, how long can I stay on H1B and be in India? Is there a rule around it?
Okay. I actually just got off the phone with an employer, a company who has a situation where they have to send an employee to India. And it's a very good company because they have a gap between the H1B expiring and when it can be extended again because of the green card filing. So a couple of issues came up, and I have covered this issue in one of my articles in the Economic Times. I have an author page in Economic Times in which I've covered various issues. One of them was this. So I have an employee who works from India. He was here or she was here on H1B, then they went to India. Now the question is, do I have to still pay them the H1B salary? My answer is hell no. But the Department of Labor says, no, you have to. If you want to maintain the H1B, you have to pay them the H1B salary even when they are in India. So how long can you stay in India? As long as you like. if you want to maintain your H-1B under the current thinking of the Department of Labor, the employer should pay you your H-1B salary in India, which I think is ridiculous. And I make a case for that in the Economic Times article, including something called public international or private international implications. How can USA make its laws binding in India? That's an encroachment upon India's sovereignty. You can't say you have to post LCA in Hoshiarpur. Of course you don't. You don't have to post LCA in Hoshiarpur. Hell with it. Okay. So these cases have been fought very poorly, in my opinion. They've been fought by lawyers who were not ready to argue the entire case for whatever reason.
But
And it's not the
what if the employer is okay? Like for example, my employee, right? Like he has to go for some emergency, and I'm okay with paying him the same salary.
and there's no problem. Then this is whole issue is absolutely moot. So
But
if you
then,
compare
but then
to deposit,
how long can he
as
stay
long
there?
as you like, as long at 2.5 years, 2 years and 11 months,
What are you
perfectly
saying?
okay.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely,
Wow.
absolutely. Just
I,
make sure you don't have any export restrictions. If you're working with, I don't know, 128-bit encryption, that might be military grade encryption or some restricted software. As long as you're not working with any of that,
hmm,
you can be in India as long as you want, or whichever country you're from.
hmm. Okay. Good. All right. Anish is asking, does that matter if I only have first name in my birth certificate while applying for I-485?
I don't think so. I think if it can be established, you are the same person. Uh, Minor defects in birth certificates are quite common. You might want to get two affidavits, attach your Aadhaar card copy. Aadhaar card is a recognized document. It should be a recognized document because it has been talked about even by the State Department. So it is recognized as a national identity document. So
Hmm.
bottom line, couple of affidavits, Aadhaar card, you'll be fine.
Similar question. In my passport, my father name is printed in place of surname, last name. Should I recorrect it to my last name?
Yes, you should. Okay. And then keep copies and originals of both the earlier birth certificate as well as the corrected one.
Yeah, in my case, my father's name is in my first name, and I've just kept it same everywhere.
You decided to keep your father, very kind of you.
Yeah, I don't mind it. Although his name is so long. When recruiters or anybody calls me, it's like, oh, is your first name like Pritesh Bimal Kumar? It's like, just call me Yudi.
Call me R.
Call me R. All right, cool. Does mentioning of AI will reject my F1 visa? Um,
Well, what he's asking about right now, first of all, no, I don't think so. I don't see why. Normally, what happens is there are certain technologies that are on a list called Technology Alert List, TAL.
hmm,
So when you have become a student or an expert in any of the restricted technologies, such as weapons of mass destruction, you might have to go through some additional security clearances, but that doesn't apply to students who are just joining. Okay. Just because you're going to study AI doesn't mean they are going to make you go through extra hoops to give you F1. If, on the other hand, you were studying, I don't know, napalm bombs, weapons of mass destruction like that, I don't know if napalm is, but something like that, nuclear physics, for example, you might have extra scrutiny. And if I remember correctly, it's really weird name, donkey clearance or visa donkey clearance, something like that. But the basic idea is if you're on technology alert list, you should take a couple of extra steps before you go, have your university give you a letter that explains very clearly why your field has nothing to do with mass destruction.
hmm.
But in case of F1, don't worry about it. You'll be fine.
Next question is, I'm on green card for next 10 years, but my passport is expiring in in 2023 beginning. When should I renew it? Will there be
I
problem?
think, yeah, that's an Indian consulate matter. I think they allow you to renew within 6 months of its expiration, and that's good enough. Don't worry about it. We've actually gotten somebody's green card processed even when their passport had been expired a couple of years. So we got somebody's 45 process.
So
This was a person
what's
from Greece.
what's the process? Do you have to go to India or can you do it from here?
No, no, they do it at the consulate. They even have some emergency procedures and expedited procedures.
Yeah. So okay. So if my
Relatively painless.
okay,
Relatively painless.
cool. Do you have to submit like a lot of documents or is it just giving
I
your
don't
old
know. We
passport?
don't practice. We don't practice on the Indian side, so I don't remember anymore what kind of documentation.
Yeah.
All I know is it's relatively pain-free. And as I was saying, we were actually able to get somebody a 485 approval, even though his green card, his passport had expired for over 2 years, I think.
Mm.
The reason was if he went back to Greece, he would have to mandatorily serve in the army. And
Oh,
he didn't want to do that. He was a conscientious objector. So it was a little bit of some hoops, but we were able to get it through.
okay. Cool. Renuka is saying the visa officer returned my passport and gave me a pink slip for 221G for the documents. They asked me a lot of questions because my sister is on H1B and funding a part of my studies. And if she, what are the chances that I will get my F1?
I think your chances are relatively good. Just because they gave you a 220, at least they didn't deny it right away, right? So if they have put you under 221G, you are like hundreds of other students. I
Yeah,
don't know what they are looking at, but they are looking at something.
yeah. Okay. A lot of questions. I lost my passport with F1 visa. Will there be any problem for me in future?
You just have to get the visa again. That's all.
Oh, really?
If you travel outside, you're going to have to get a visa again. There is no way to get a duplicate visa or a replacement visa. You have to go apply
You
again,
just get new passport and then
everything all over again.
wow.
Now, if you just renewed your passport and your visa was on the old passport, you just carry both passports together. That's not a problem.
Acha.
But if the old passport is lost or destroyed or mutilated so that the visa stamp is not readable, you have to apply again.
Okay. So it's not like all full process you have to do it, not
It
just
is
like
the full process.
interview.
It
Okay.
is the full process.
Wow.
It is
Great.
the full, but hopefully it's faster because they have a full file on you, a complete file on you.
Okay. Is vaccination mandatory to travel to USA from India on H1B?
Go to the CDC website and read up on that. I do not know exactly what the requirements today are. They
But
change quite frequently.
or at least to be on campus, at least for my university and several others, it is mandatory if you want to
Yeah, so
be.
that's a different thing. What the campus requirements are the campus requirements. The question is to travel. So that's where CDC, Center for Disease Control, and DHS, Department of Homeland Security, Customs and Border Protection come in. So these are two different agencies.
Okay.
Normally, CBP follows whatever CDC says.
Okay. Shomesh is asking, is it okay to travel to Canada or Mexico for my first time H1B stamp as an
Oh,
Indian citizen?
if they are open for business, yes, absolutely. And they have to be open for business for people who don't live in Mexico, what is called TCN, third country nationals.
Yeah. Okay. That was a good question. Okay, never mind. Devika is asking, husband is on F1 OPT and I'm on B2 as F2 was rejected in 2018. Any guess how long the travel ban will be there? Should I apply F2 again in India now or
Yeah.
apply once I can travel to USA?
Try an F2 when you can travel. Okay, right now you can travel because you should be exempt from the travel ban. Typically, the rule is if the main applicant is exempt, so is their spouse. So as far as I know, you should be exempt from the visa ban. By the way, I have been answering questions on the Economic Times. They have a panel of experts, but right now I am the panel. So if you go to Economic Times, you can read up on many of these questions. I've already covered there.
They want
They
live
come out, I
answer.
think
They just want
they,
live answer from you.
yeah, of course. They publish on, I think, Monday, because my deadline is usually Sunday. So they publish on Monday.
Once and for all, I'm gonna answer it because we do this every live.
You cannot work, don't work. Bad idea.
Exactly. A lot of question. Can I do YouTube? Can I do Fiverr? Can you do Upwork? Can you make websites? No. Answer is no. Just stop
We
asking
don't
that.
think so. See, the problem is it is so difficult to say just a no. I don't think so. Today I have a client who has a lot of money. He's a physician and he wants to invest his surplus money, and that's understandable. So he was in a hurry and he was in flight. So I left him a message because he sent me a link. Can I invest in this scheme? And I looked at the scheme. It was basically a limited liability company for what they call real estate investments. And there was no involvement by the investor. So it's not like the investor decided which real estate to buy. They just put in the money and sat back. I think that's fine. That's like buying stock in the stock market. But that's my guess. Can I stand behind it? I think so. If somebody wanted to go to court over it, I would stand with them and I'd say, yeah, what's wrong with this? But anything more than that, if you are actively involved in the business,
it's right. And the questions like, oh, what if I get paid in Indian bank account and all that?
Yeah. I also love, how will they catch me? Well, that's, we assume that they will catch you and we assume that you are telling the truth. That's the basis for the entire US economic system. How do we know that you are the guy with the credit card when you just swipe the card through and you buy a television? We just assume you're telling the truth.
Right. Okay. Next one is I'm on F1 post completion OPT. Employer is applying for green card in February, also applying for H1B in April. Will that be problem if I get H1B?
Okay. First of all, I have written an article in the Economic Times. Go to my author page. Can I apply for a green card while I'm on a student visa? And also on my blog. Normally, whatever I put on Economic Times, I usually have a more expanded entry on my blog because I cover a lot more ground in my blog. Okay. So go to immigration.com, look at our blogs. This issue has been covered. Can I apply for a green card? Now, your question is very focused. Your question is, if there's a green card pending, does it become a problem for the H1B, F1 to H1B? No problem.
Yeah.
There are other issues, but the one that you have addressed, not a problem. Other issues, go to my blog or go to Economic Times.
Right. Okay. Amanda is sorry, not Amanda. Ananda.
Close enough. Do you need glasses, Yudi?
I probably do. I don't have one, but I might have to. Can I transfer my visa to another employer before October 1st? Before my H1B gets started? I'm on OPT and just this year my H1B was picked.
Okay. So here is the problem with that. Personally, if you ask me, the way I read the law, once your H1B is approved, you should be exempted from the quota. Okay. And if you leave the employer and they revoke your case before October 1st, you should be okay. But that's not the way USCIS says it is. USCIS says you can change employers before October 1st, no problem. But if your original employer revokes your H1B before October 1st, you're dead. You're back in the quota line. Everything is gone. I think they're wrong. I think they should be sued, but nobody has so far.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Can my uncle sponsor me a green card if he's a citizen of USA? We aren't immediate relative.
No. Yeah. Only very closely related. Mom, dad, brother, sister, wife, parents.
But isn't brother, sister like 10 years, 12 years?
15, 16 years.
And same for mom, dad as well?
Mom, dad, there's several categories. For example, if mom is a green card, dad is a green card holder, it's a different set of rules. If they are a citizen, different
No,
set
no,
of rules.
I'm a citizen. If I want to call my parents, is that
It will
different?
take them about a year and a half. Very easy category.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're not subject to the quota. They're not subject to the waiting period. They're
Mm,
called immediate relatives. Immediate relatives have technically no waiting time. The only time it takes is whatever time it takes to process the papers.
mm, yeah. All right. Win is asking, I have 8 months of H-1B pending. Is it enough time to get into green card queue? If yes, what rules would be helpful? What are probabilities?
Probably not enough time. Okay. There's going to be a gap in your employment, but start the green card as quickly as possible. That way, you reduce the gap for the time you cannot work. It's a long story. I can get into the whole story, but I'm thinking maybe I should just I'll just write a quick article for you guys. Bottom
I,
line is, go ahead.
I
Yudi.
had a follow-up question. So same situation with another friend of mine. His H-1B is expiring next year in August, and his green card process just has begun. Doesn't know if it'll even get far enough to be in that, like, be I-140 approved. What
Well,
happens
there
if
are
it is not approved?
there are two sections of AC 21 law, section 104 and 106. They have different rules. Your H1B can be extended beyond 6 years on one of the following two grounds. One ground is based upon time. The other ground is based upon the stage. So the time-based ground is like this. If you started your green card 1 year ago, you're entitled to 1 year extension.
Oh.
The other is stage-based. We don't care when you started your green card. If your I-140 is approved, you're entitled to 3-year extension.
Mm. And
So let's take that example. Your friend filed his green card in August.
uh,
It is guaranteed that he can get 1 year extension next August.
and does he have to file for an extension, or does he get by, like, okay. Okay,
And are you
so
trying to take away our bread and butter? We need money. But he has to pay for our Ferraris. So,
and
so
that
no,
that extension needs to be filed 90 days before. Is that what the deal is?
there's no 90-day rule. You can
Okay.
file an extension 1 day ahead of time. There's a lot more to it, but I'm giving you the bird's eye view, which is absolutely true. That you can, if the moment you are about to reach the first year anniversary of your green card starting, like you filed the perm, if you go through the perm process in August of next year, you're entitled to 1 year extension, and you can file 6 months ahead. It's a lot more complicated, but the bottom line is 1 year anniversary, you're entitled to it. Second, if your I-140 is approved, let's say your I-140 gets approved in April,
Hmm. Yeah.
immediately entitled to having a 3-year extension on an ongoing basis.
Yeah. Indian is asking, can I stay in United States even if my F1 passport is lost? Should I travel immediately to India to get it stamped,
Okay.
or
Okay. So what I hear you say is this: I am a student. I am going to school. Only my passport with the F1 visa stamp is lost. Now, you definitely have to apply for a passport, a duplicate passport, after filing a complaint with the police. But do you need a visa to continue to stay in the United States? No. You only need a visa when you travel outside. So when you travel outside, you're going to have to get an F1 visa to come back.
okay. All right. Hi. Okay. Keeping that. I have, okay. Aneet is asking, I have both OPT EAD and TPS EAD. What is TPS?
Temporary protected status.
Okay. Worked using TPS EAD before graduation. I am filing I-485 now, EB3. Which status, TPS to green card or F1 to green card? Which status to use?
Don't know for sure. I have to look it up because we hardly have any TPS clients. The main question is TPS considered to be status? I believe it is. If it is, you can go from TPS to 485. So I do not know the answer to that question offhand,
What is
but
TPS? Like,
I know the question. I don't know the answer.
but what is TPS? Like,
So what happens is, let's say there's been a flood in Ethiopia or Eritrea. There was a big flood, right? So government of USA decides, you know what, we're not going to make the students go back. Situation is horrible. Like in Nepal, there was a big earthquake that lasted for months. The aftershocks lasted for months. And let's say we give people of Nepal temporary protected status, which means they get employment authorization, they can work and they can stay here.
Oh.
That's TPS. It's like kind of like a mini refugee or mini asylum kind of situation. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Cool. Anil is asking for L1A visa to EB1C. Are the requirements for managerial capacity strict, or can an individual contributor be applicable as well?
That's a very, very long discussion. I can tell you this briefly. There are two kinds of executives or managers: those who manage professional people. So if you are a systems manager who's managing 9 database administrators, you probably qualify under that category, okay? Because you're managing other professionals. The other is something called functional manager. That's a lot more complicated. So you are not managing any people, but you are managing a separate function, discrete, which can be compartmentalized, a discrete function of the organization that is critical to the organization. Give you an example. We have a client with several thousand employees all through the world. They had a gentleman being transferred on L1A who was the pricing manager. So his job was, for any high budget projects of $10 million or more, he would fly from country to country and decide what we were going to bid for. So he was in charge of their pricing manager. Now he had nobody reporting to him, but we were able to get his L1A and then EB1C. I don't remember EB1C, but L1A through. Simply, very, very simple. Pricing projects over $10 million is a separate function. It's easy to separate it from the rest of the company. Okay. 2, it is important. Money. 3, he has a lot of discretion. 4, his salary was at par with other VPs in global VPs in the company. And 5, he reported directly to the CEO, just like everybody else did. So the answer to your question, it is possible to do that. It is possible to be a functional manager or executive. Are the requirements under EB1C different or more strict? They can be. Not that technically they are the same requirements, but maybe the degree of scrutiny goes up a little notch, just because on the one hand, they are giving you a 3-year visa for 7 years, maximum duration. On the other hand, they're giving you a green card. So maybe just a notch up.
Next one, Anish is asking, do I need to be in the same metropolitan zone as of my company while filing for H1B? My company is in Atlanta and I live in St. Louis and I have permanent work from home.
Our law firm has H1B employee working from Atlanta because she needed to move there for her daughter's education. And we were okay with that. So, of course, we have to pay her the Atlanta salary wherever she's located. And that's just the way it is. So the bottom line is, yes, you can apply for an H1B and work from anywhere, and you don't have to be in the same zip code as the employer.
Okay. Indian is back. He's asking, the last F1 visa should be stamped in India, or can we travel to Canada? What are the chances?
You can travel to any country, and I think chances are okay. Chances are decent.
Thank you for both of your help. That's what he said. Finishing.
Oh, you are very welcome. Our pleasure. We don't know what we would do without you. We got lost there for a second. Didn't know what we were going to start playing Antakshari. That's what we were thinking. And then Yudi chickened out. He says, "I'm going to lose. I don't want to play."
I know you will win. You play flute and all. You should play flute for everybody.
Well, I don't know. Is that appropriate? I don't know.
Why not? I mean, it's YouTube.
Hmm. I have a channel, 40,000 people, but I haven't played for a long time now. Sample.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So good. Okay. Next one. I lost my chain chain of thoughts. For filing H1B master scorer, do I need to have 3 pay stubs as well?
It's not required, but if you have been working there for a while, let's say you only worked there 1 month and you have only 1 pay stub, that's good enough.
F1 visa rejected under 214B. What can help my situation?
Prayers.
Prayers.
Because 214B is such a ridiculous ground. It basically says, we think you're going to become a green card holder or you're going to stay there permanently. Every F1 student will eventually do that. Very few will go back. People will go from F1 to OPT to H1B and green card. It's a farce, in my opinion. And actually, the act that was being considered, Biden's law that was being considered, would remove that requirement. They would remove that requirement from the law that you can be rejected under 214B. You cannot be rejected under. Like an H1B. H1B cannot be rejected under 214B. So I think it's a complete and utter nonsense. It's a law that has never been examined. It's one of those things that you do and you don't even know why you are doing it.
Yeah.
But go to another country, go to Australia, go to New Zealand, go to Canada. I loved Canada. Go to Canada, go study there. And come to in USA for a visit 1 or 2 times. Then if you want, you can try again. That's what I did. You can try again and you might get your student visa from a third country. But you better be a genuine student, not just trying to game this system.
Sukanya is asking, hi. Oh, sorry. I'm currently in US and one of my friend worked as a teaching assistant and also did internship simultaneously in summer. It was almost 60 hours of work a week. Is that even allowed?
OPT, first year OPT can work as many hours as they like, not less than 20, but they can work 80 hours if they want. Why not?
This is not OPT though. This is she's still a student and she's an interning, like in between.
Well, if the internship is not paid, it's actually the school's decision. Some schools might consider unpaid internships to be okay. Some schools don't allow them. So there is really I'm not aware of any law covering that area in the regulations. I believe it's a school policy more than anything.
Yeah, I think her question is more like typically you can only work 20 hours per week if you are student on campus, and you can work 40 hours a week if you are on a summer vacation or like summer holidays or spring break or something like that if you're not taking classes.
Yeah, get together with your DSO. I don't know if you're trying to file a complaint against your friend, but get together with your DSO. The problem is, I know that for a fact that some schools raise a problem with too many hours of working. The theory is that you're not able to devote your attention to your studies.
Yeah.
Frankly, I don't think my DSO is my mommy. I think that's none of their concerns. As long as I'm maintaining my grades, why should anybody be concerned about how many hours I volunteer my time?
I had received an email just like last week where a student emailed me saying Uh, his roommate was working off campus, and because he was in need of money, because he was in a need of some money, and he was also doing some freelancing. And somebody called cops on him, Homeland Security, and they Homeland Security asked him, like university asked him to come to the international student department, where Homeland Security were ready for him to interrogate him. He
Yeah.
lied in the beginning, and then he said, I mean, then he freaked out and then told him the truth, and then now he's suspended and is given 10 days to leave.
Yeah.
And later on, somebody, I mean, the guy in the email, he said that they found out that someone was like, he had a fight, or someone was jealous that he had working so many hours and making so much money, and the other person wasn't. So I was like, oh my god, that's crazy.
The way I look at it, these are victimless crimes. I'm not here to be an investigator for DHS, but people do
Yeah,
what people do, Yuri.
yeah. Okay, YouTube is indirectly related to visa reforms. Will the new U.S. Citizenship Act have a chance to pass this time? If yes, how long will it usually take for the legislation to happen?
Well,
Wow.
you see, immigration law has always been very difficult to amend or pass, especially when you have such razor thin margins, both in Senate and House. So even though this is the best chance we've had in years for an immigration reform, it's going to be a fight. I'll tell you something else though. When they passed the infrastructure bill in the Senate, that was unexpected. With what, 67 votes? Unexpected. People were betting that there's no way we are even going to get to 60, but
Hmm.
we got to 67. 60 is what you need to pass. We got to 67. So who knows, maybe Mr. Biden will pull a rabbit out of another hat. So the answer is we don't know when, we don't know if, but we certainly hope it gets passed.
Hmm. Okay. Next one is by Ashwin. I got 221G, and they asked me to submit my resume, research, and publications. I guess it's a 221G for TAL. What happens in TAL?
That's that's the technology alert list I was talking about, remember?
Oh.
We talked about it because basically what they are looking for is, are you an expert in weapons of mass destruction? So they put you through visa donkey check or something like that, they call it, and take a couple of months extra, typically 60 days. And they make sure that you're not going to blow up the United States of America.
Hmm. Okay. Um. Okay. Sorry, so many questions now.
But before we go forward, it also helps if your university writes a letter stating that your kind of work is not about weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah. Okay, Shri is asking, I'm a doctor and planning to do residency and practice in United States. Most program sponsors J1 visa. Is it easy to get green card, or can I change to H1?
Okay. So first of all, to get an H1B as a physician, you have to have passed USMLE 1 and 2. If you're going clinical, if you're doing research, no problem. But if you're doing clinical like residency, you have to have passed USMLE 1 and 2 to get an H1B. Many hospitals will accommodate you. They will get an H1B for you. So if you can get an H1B, well, power to you. Go for it. That's much better. You get a J1, it comes with a home residency requirement. Either after finishing, you have to come back to India for 2 years, or you have to try to get it waived. Getting a waiver can be difficult because there are many applicants. So it depends upon where you are, what kind of waiver you go through, what kind of job you get. Too difficult for us to predict, but physicians are, as a general rule, okay. But there are people who have to return because they're not able to get a waiver.
Okay. All right. Next one is interesting. Is it recommended to finish OPT and OPT STEM time before I move my H1B, or should I switch it right away?
I switch it right away. But there are people who prefer to say, you know what, I don't want to get a change of status to H1B. Let me continue on my OPT. And whenever I go outside USA, I'll get a visa stamp and come back. I would rather just go on H1B because then I can get my green card started, not worry about all this.
Yeah. Siddharth is asking, should I do undergrad in United States computer science rather than India? Please answer in terms of H1B education, college life, as you have experienced both.
I can answer H1B and I can answer college life as a graduate student because I was a graduate student in the United States and in Canada. So as far as the H1B is concerned, as long as your degree is a 4-year degree from a university in India, it doesn't matter whether you do it here or there. H1B is the same.
Mm.
As to campus life, partying, dating, Yudi has all the information.
Mm. I think undergrad education, if you can afford it, I would definitely recommend going to United States for your undergrad. There's so much more, like there's a lot more hands-on, lots more practical experience, which I think you won't get it in India, unfortunately.
And you get used to the culture, you make contacts.
Yeah, yeah. Um, there was one question I was reading, but I missed it. What is the International Entrepreneur Parole? Can F1 student be eligible for that, or what are the
I believe
requirements?
so. I believe so. But there was a reason I didn't like it. I remember writing up on it a couple of times, and I didn't like it for a bunch of different reasons. It required investment or arranging for investment. It was temporary. It did not directly lead to a green card. So I didn't particularly like the program, at least not in the present format. I don't remember the details, but you can find the details on the web. Plenty of places have them. Just trust the information from government websites.
Okay. Pritesh Tiwari is saying thank you for the live sessions and gave us 40 rupees.
Hey, I want my 40 rupees.
Come to Chico. I'll buy you a vada pav. I don't think we can get vada pav with 40 rupees. At least in
Hey
Bay
man,
Area.
I don't care. It's just a gesture that matters.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Even if they give you 4 rupees, it's
Do you
just
do
a
you
thank.
have Indian restaurants over there?
Oh
DC?
my God, yes. Within driving distance, we've got about 10.
Oh wow. Okay.
More than that, 20.
Yeah,
When
I'm
I say
sure.
driving distance, I mean 15 minutes. I don't drive more than that.
You should start riding scooters or motorcycles.
I walk everywhere. I am not much of a, I like to walk. Even our office is 2.5 miles down the road. I usually just walk and walk back.
Hmm. So last question, because I have to run for a work meeting. Big V is asking, thanks Rajiv Ji. I think he's asking from our previous question. I just read your article on F1 to green card. If I don't get H1B before running out of OPD extension while my green card is pending, can I still work?
You won't be able to work because you have no way of working unless you have an EAD from 485. And if you're an India born person, you won't have an EAD for 13 years.
Yeah. And if you have more questions, please reach out to help@immigration.com.
Yep. Also, I'm on LinkedIn. Connect with me. Connect with Yudi. Man, I have not been able to figure out that Instagram thing. I try very hard. I don't know why. My mind just can't wrap around the idea that you cannot do something permanent. I know I can
Oh,
write my
yeah.
blogs. I can
Yeah.
even code, but I
Yeah.
cannot understand
Yeah.
Instagram. Somebody has to give me a lesson.
I can teach you. I can teach you. All right.
Somebody has.
Awesome. Yeah. I think we'll keep it here. Thank you, everybody. Lots of good questions. We'll do again in 2 weeks. So see you guys soon. And
And
thank you.
before you go, the reason Yudi is wearing a hat is because he didn't get a haircut.
That
Lazy
is
bum.
correct. That is absolutely right. I'm so lazy. Awesome. Thank you, everyone. I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Still here.